Lori Weigel is a highly experienced pollster nationally and in Colorado. She's also one of the lead researchers on the bipartisan team for the new Colorado Health Foundation poll called Polls. So Lori, just days to go now until the election. How do you think the pandemic has affected the mood of the electorate? And do you think it's made this election year fundamentally different from previous ones?
I think the pandemic was this new problem that sort of moved in amidst all the other problems already facing Colorado. So those haven't gone away. 2/3 tell us that the cost of housing is a major problem in our state. A majority say the quality of public education is still a problem, but the pandemic just piled on top of those other issues. We have 1 in 4 Coloradans volunteering that as the most serious problem facing our state. So not only are candidates having to address all those other issues that we already cared about a year ago, but on top of that, it sort of brought into relief and really exacerbated a number of other concerns.
We hear a lot these days about the partisan divide. Where have you found some views on health-related issues that bridge that divide?
So there's not a lot that really crosses the partisan spectrum these days, as you may have noticed, but we did see among health-related concerns that very specific actions to address the COVID-19 pandemic were widely embraced by all Coloradans. So things like free testing for the virus, access to the vaccination once we have that available, were things that really crossed the partisan spectrum. Now, that said, we only had 2/3 who said they were willing to get the vaccine once we have one available, and that was highly partisan, with that embraced by more liberal Coloradans and really dividing more conservatives.
So looking past Election Day, what are some of the health-related takeaways from the poll that you would emphasize for lawmakers as they turn and start doing the work of legislating on a range of health issues?
So strikingly, we saw that a significant proportion of Coloradans are telling us that they are really struggling right now. We had 38% of Coloradans telling us that they are concerned that in the year ahead, they won't be able to meet some very basic needs. They may not be able to afford rent or their mortgage, that they won't be able to afford adequate food to feed their family, or that they may lose health insurance coverage. So legislators are going to have to get fairly creative, given that we have a tight budget situation these days, and we have nearly 2 in 5 Coloradans concerned that they may not be able to afford one of those 3 very basic needs.
And now looking ahead again, what are some of the related issues that you'd be interested to revisit in next year's edition of this annual survey?
So we barely got to scratch the surface on mental health. That's obviously a sensitive topic, but we had a majority, 53% of Coloradans telling us that they had experienced mental health strain as a result of this pandemic. And in fact, we had 1 in 5 Coloradans telling us that they or another family member had at some point needed mental health services, but had been unable to access them, mostly due to cost. So mental health certainly is a topic that we'd like to revisit and perhaps dig a little more into in the future.
We definitely look forward to those insights. Thanks so much, Lori.
My pleasure.
Check out copulsepoll.org for more on what Coloradans think about issues affecting their health and well-being.